and you can follow along either on StreamYard or just listen along. And that link at the top, if you are on Clubhouse, will have all the links and everything I will be sharing today, and to different articles and different information I will be sharing out there. But as always, let me do a room reset real quick, and then we'll get started.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Breakfast with Champions. We are live on Clubhouse starting at 4 a.m. Eastern with over 60 expert hosts who provide motivation, education, and inspiration to help you live your best life and grow your business. Be sure to connect with us on Facebook to continue the conversation. Matt, I know you were disappointed that you didn't get any superpowers from the eclipse, but the good news is that understanding and using AI correctly can get you close to actual superpowers. As long as I continue to let you use me. I mean, use it.
Thank you, Claude. That is my boy Claude. I used to have my boy G, ChatGPT, do that, but when Claude got much better, I let him start doing it. But it'd be interesting. So one of the things I'm first going to share here is the a ranking where Claude or ChatGPT is still on top. So let me jump over here and share my full screen. Then we'll get started. You know what? I didn't, the eclipse was not good in my area. I don't know about you guys, but it didn't go well because of the clouds. But the other day, I did get to see the full end of the rainbow. So I took pictures of that as I was driving down the street. It was raining the other day, and outside of Philadelphia here, it's been raining pretty much every day. But it was really cool. I've never seen like it was like the actual right in the middle of the street and the end of the rainbow. So I looked for the pot of gold. There was nothing. I think that might be a scam. So I don't know if everyone ever found it. If you did find it, let me know. But I don't think it actually exists. But let me jump into AI and the world of AI. So there is Hugging Face, which I've talked about a lot, and they did a survey of 500,000 people to really break down and see what where things actually rank right now as far as the large language models, because there's a lot of news this week in the world of large language models. So if you don't know what that is the Chat GPTs, the Claudes, the Geminis, those ones we go into and type in our questions and ask them. That is a large language model, and obviously they rank. So in doing that and doing the ranking, while it was very close, GPT-4 has still come out on top. So the GPT-4 Turbo. So in looking at at this in large language models, you have to remember there is the front-facing chat bot that most of us use, and then there's the API, and then there's the back end that's open to developers, so people can develop their own front end or be able to use that within their system. So when you look at these, a lot of these are going to be looking at both of those and in comparison to doing those. Interesting, Bard, which actually is now Gemini Pro, came in fifth. So we had GPT-4, Claude 3, GPT-4 preview, GPT-4 0125 preview, and then Gemini. So out of the top five, GPT-4 was actually there 3 times. And again, so that's, taking into account the different APIs and the different levels to which you can use GPT-4. But I also don't think this was done with the new update for Gemini. So Gemini has just come out with 1.5, which was a pretty amazing update. And I'm going to talk about that. But it's always interesting to see where things kind of lay out and where people are as far as looking at this overall and kind of looking at where these different things rank and going through that. But Gemini 1.5 through machine learning innovations has increased the 1.5 context window. So I've talked about this a lot. Like the context window is how much it can actually show, to as far as the return results and how much you can type into it. It can now run up to 1 million tokens in production. That means 1.5 Pro can produce or process vast amounts of information on the go, including, and this is really important, 1 hour of video, 11 hours of audio, and code bases with over 30,000 lines of code or 700,000 words. So again, it has been rolled out first to the API. It's going to be on the front-facing Gemini as you start to use that. You may already see that, or you may see that eventually as they roll out the updates on that. But that just shows you the amount of information you can not only put in there and asking the questions and doing these things, but the amount of information you'll be able to get back on there. So again, I have some links up there. There's more to that, and there's more. It goes into talking about different things and how it can unlock the multiple module for the audio and video and do different things on there, and a little more on the API side. I won't go into too much right now because most people that doesn't really matter in their world, but there are some really good updates for that as well. But the easiest way to showcase this is just to steal other people's hard work and then show it that way. But I of course give people credit all the time. So Bawala Sadhu is on Twitter, and you can go follow him on Twitter. I have his link there, showing on my screen right now. So he worked with 1.5 again on the API side, and he put some thumbnails together to do it. So he was using it around the video. So just dropped an audio file and an hour-long video interview, and it's helping me to package up for YouTube. So he put in there, with these now 1 million tokens available, how much it could be. So it took all of this information, put it in there, and said, "Give me the key takeaways," and put all this information in here for. He interviewed David Chu and wanted to show that. So he highlighted all this and showed what it did there, and then even built thumbnails for the video. So again, we talk a lot about different systems for if you're doing YouTube, if you're doing podcasts and everything, what will be available to you. So he was able to do this, put these thumbnail comparisons out there. One of the big things, and to quote him also, holy crap, Gemini 1.5 Pro cranked out perfect chapters with timestamps I can paste into YouTube. So if you look at, obviously, if you go into a YouTube video, especially the ones that are very useful, will have the timestamps on there. So through the interview, it'll be 34 seconds. David Chu's background, a minute 31, defining in 5 minutes, so on and so forth. So but if we'll go through all that, and it'll show all the timestamps, all the information that's on there, and then breaks it down by all these different timestamps. So that is something that AI has really struggled with. We've talked a lot about as images started coming out, trying to do human hands, trying to do these different things. There's all these different struggles and things that AI has really struggled with. Building those timestamps and getting to that exact, this is where it was, because when it tried to do it in the past, it wasn't anywhere close. He would actually go to that timestamp and do that. So this with Gemini 1.5, which again, being a Google product, is that something they focused on more because they obviously also own YouTube, possibly, so maybe that was something that was, put into there, or just the way the AI was designed. Is it doing a better job? Either way, it does an excellent job of that. So if you are looking to do that, if you're looking to do more on YouTube and build that, this is now an excellent way to help you build your summaries, build out these chapters. There's a number of different ones that I've seen the direct interface with that to build out those things, to build out timestamps and quick synopsis that I've used in the past. But this is really taking all that into context and being able to summarize the entire video, and doing it because of all those tokens that are available to that now. So that was a pretty big update. So again, but in the large language models, we continue to go. I'll touch on this really quick. I talk a lot about Stability.ai. They have their stable LM2 12B. So this is a pair of models trained on multilingual data: English, Spanish, German, Italian, French, Portuguese, and Dutch. And you can use these now. So again, for most people, they're not really using Stability AI and not really using what they have available. But from a company standpoint, from a developer standpoint, from the AI, these are some pretty amazing updates that are on there. So I do like to share that with people and be able to talk about that. But just be aware, it's it is out there, and it's pretty amazing what is going on there. So the coming awareness. So we talked a lot about AI awareness and where are we at, and can the systems actually become self-aware at some point. And there's a couple of things I want to talk about this, but the first and foremost, OpenAI, Meta, two of the biggest players in the AI game, are on the verge of releasing new models that promise to take AI capabilities to the next level. So GPT-5 and Llama 3. And according to chief researchers at these companies, these models will have enhanced reasoning and planning abilities that could be a real game changer. So what does that mean? Well, Jan LeCun, Meta's chief AI scientist, emphasized that AI needs to evolve beyond just generating text. He believes the future of AI lies in its ability to conduct thoughtful planning and reasoning, much like a human would. Meta is also focused on developing models that can reason, plan, and possibly even retain memory. This is a big deal. If AI can start to think and reason like a human, the possibilities are endless. Now, before we get too carried away, it's important to note that the true consciousness of AI is still distinct and an untamed goal. Although some people say that that OpenAI has already done it, and they're just holding back now. So, but the fascinating part, we might see these both in action this year. So, so expected, in late 2024 for GPT-5. And Meta to share also Llama 3 in 2024. So both of those will have major updates towards sometime this year, probably the end of this year. So we will see what happens there as we move forward too. And GPT is really trying to stay on top of these things. And if you're a regular user, you might have noticed they've taken away their usage limitations on there as well. So before they're putting that on there, and I think because of all the systems, all different things that are coming out, they're starting to make changes and they're starting to take that away from there. So it'll be interesting to see as we go on and start to look at that, how much of the usage change and things, the limitations that will still be there for these different systems, because as these come out, we're seeing more and more of that happening. So. So Meta is bringing, as I talked about, Llama, according to that, Llama 3 and large language models. And these would be smaller LLMs, but still large language models. And insiders suggest that they'll be more cost effective and quicker processing than the full size Llama 3. And makes them ideal for developers who want to go through that and start to use those. So these smaller will be there as well. So there's a lot on the large language model side. I wanted to try to go through that and talk as much as I can there, and really start to look about that, to talk about that. But as we see it, as we go through, we'll see more and more changes there on the large language model side. So another thing that's going on is the EU versus big tech. So if we look at what's going on, I've talked a lot about the regulations and things that are happening. So the EU, the UK's Competition and Market Authority, or the CMA, has recently raised serious concerns about the concentration of power in the AI industry. They're worried about deep integration for companies like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, and Apple across the AI sector could lead to unfair market practices and ultimately harm consumer interest. The tech giants have been instrumental in driving innovation and pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI. Their partnerships, collaborations have led to some incredible breakthroughs. However, the CMA is concerned that this concentration of power could stifle competition and limit opportunities for smaller players to enter and thrive in the market. Imagine a world where a handful of companies control most of AI development and development that could dictate the direction of industry, set prices, and limit consumer choice. It's a scary thought, especially considering how persuasive AI is going to be in our daily lives. So it'll be interesting to see. I've talked a lot about some of the different regulations and things that are going on. There's a new bill around AI companies to reveal the use of copyrighted art in the U.S. So this is just a bill that's been introduced. It is not law yet, but Adam Schiff's introducing this bill. So we start to look more and more at AI and things that are happening in that. I talked a lot about the election season and things that are going on. So as we go through that, we're going to see more and more of this. So Meta is going to make changes. I've talked about their oversight board. So based on some of these things we're seeing happening, Meta is going to make changes. Back in February, Meta faced criticism for its from its oversight board, which independently reviews the company's content moderation decisions. The board argued that Meta's existing content policies were narrow, incoherent, and confusing. So Meta has taken that to heart, and starting in May, it's going to use Made with AI label to a broader range of AI-generated content, including videos, images, and audio. The goal is to help users differentiate between genuine and deceptive content. So the problem at this point was Meta was just brushing a broad stroke and saying just don't allow AI and really shutting things down. But they realize now that okay, that was a little too hard, a little too restrictive, and I think they were doing that because of a lot because of election season this year and because of issues they've had in the past going through that. So in looking at that, they decided, okay, we're going to do a little more widespread, but we'll put the made with AI the label on there, and they're hoping that will help and and be able to do some of that. So along with that, and I think again, while we start to look at this as these systems make these changes, and again, I think any of the changes and updates that have happened, this was a year ago, and some of these things that were happening would be huge news. But I think one, there's so much going on in the world of AI. There's so much news coming out at the same time, and these things, while seem to be like little small changes, are actually really huge changes. And DALL-E, two things going on with DALL-E. One, it expands to be able to make it more specific doing that. So they just announced two features, making creating and editing images more fun and intuitive. The editing capabilities, so you can edit the DALL-E when it generates an image for you. You can highlight a specific area of the image and type in a prompt to refine it. So before you would make these, especially for Midjourney is still the leader of creating these images. DALL-E 3 would struggle with a lot of different areas, different things, but now it's come out. So if you create this, let's say create a car, and you want that car to have different tires or be different colors in different areas and all those things, it's going to do it so you can generate specific areas. Or if you want to put glasses on a person, whatever it is, you'll be able to highlight just that area and say, go ahead and just update this area and just look at that. So, but they've also introduces a preset style prompt suggestion that helps you get even more creative with your images. Let's say you generated a nice landscape, but want to see what it looks like in a different style. DALL-E will offer suggestions like regenerate the image in a science fiction style or to look more like a painting on there. So as you create these images, you can now create different styles and then pull it down to very, minute little areas within the picture and be able to change those exactly the way you want to. And as so as we start to see this and we start to see all the different changes the companies are making, you can see why, both in the EU and the US, they're trying to quickly catch up with it as far as regulations and as far as things that go on, especially because DALL-E might be in the military. Microsoft, the tech giant that backs OpenAI, has reportedly pitched the company's text-to-image model DALL-E 3 to the U.S. Department of Defense, or the DoD. The idea is that AI could train battle systems and assist military leaders in identifying targets. It's important to note that Microsoft has not yet sold anything to DoD. However, the Pentagon has clarified its mission to accelerate the adoption of data analytics and AI across the DoD. So it seems only a matter of time before we see AI used in military operations. This pitch from Microsoft came shortly after OpenAI significantly changed its policy. Previously, the company had a line prohibiting its tools from being used for the military and warfare purposes. However, that line was recently removed, and just days later, OpenAI began to work with the DoD. This obviously raises some ethical questions about the role of AI in warfare. On one hand, AI's potential to make military operations more precise and efficient, potentially reducing casualties. But on the other hand, there are concerns about the accountability and transparency of using AI in such high-stakes situations. So this goes back to talking about big tech and the marriage of AI and just a handful of companies controlling AI. As it goes to all these parts of our lives, especially in military. So it'll be interesting to continue to watch that and see what comes out of there. I've talked a lot about NVIDIA and a lot about chips. As I said, as I start talking about NVIDIA, I hope a lot of people were able to invest in NVIDIA and take advantage of this. But there's still a lot more to be learned from this and a lot more that we can look at. TSMC gets $11.6 billion in U.S. grant loans for chip plants. Legislation aimed at boosting domestic AI chip production. The U.S. government has announced plans to award a whopping $11.6 billion in grants and loans to Taiwan Super Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or TSMC, For short, the funding is designed to help TSMC build 3 AI chip production factories in Arizona. So it's a pretty big deal, and it's the most significant foreign direct investment in a brand new development project in U.S. history. As part of the agreement, TSMC will also increase its U.S. investments from $40 billion to $65 billion. So what does this mean in practical terms? The 2 factories are already under construction, expected to start production in 2025. The third factory, which is expected to produce advanced chips, has yet to be constructed, but is in the pipeline. Even more in chip news, I talked about NVIDIA. Intel is competing very much with NVIDIA. Just unveiled its latest and greatest AI chip, that Claude 3, which looks like it is. I'm sorry. Guard 3 is their chip. Serious competitor to NVIDIA's H100 chip. NVIDIA currently dominates the market for powering AI applications and tech giants like Google and Microsoft. So, as I said, the chip wars are going to continue. We're going to see more and more in that area, and more trying to see what happens there with these different companies. But I think there will still be a lot to invest in, and a lot of companies growing for that. So now jumping over to some more practical news, Gmail update. So new AI feature on Gmail Android to summarize long emails for users. The new tool will give concise summaries of individual emails, especially those lengthy and informative pack ones we all dread. So you might say, wait a minute, doesn't Google already do something like that? Kind of. So they offer a similar feature for paying Gemini Workspace user, but it has its limitation, and it's only available on desktop and can only summarize entire email threads, not the individual emails. So if you're a Gmail user, you'll know what those threads can be and how they can get out of hand, especially if you're not there looking and you're in a group thread and 20 people have replied back and forth. So now you'll be able to take this and use that, and it's going to be on Android first, and then it's going to roll out to the Gmail app on iPhone as well. So they'll be updating that to do that. Also, talk to me Gmail. So if you're a Gmail user and you're familiar with the help me write, which is AI now it's going to have voice prompts. So you'll be on the go, driving, walking. Remember that you need to send an important email with the voice prompt feature. You can speak your thoughts, and Gmail's AI will turn them into structured or written draft to talk about. So both of those will be coming to Gmail. So they continue to grow their AI and be able to do that. A couple things as far on the job front that we've talked about in the past. Texas is replacing thousands of human exam graders with AI. So the Texas Education Agency, or T, is currently testing an AI-powered scoring system to grade the state of Texas assignments of academic readiness exams, more commonly known as STAR. A move could significantly impact both the agency and students taking these exams. So typically they would hire about 6,000 people to help that, like last year they did. But now they plan to hire around 2,000 human graders this year and replace the rest of that. The reduction in human graders could save T a whopping $15 to $20 million annually. So that's one of those things that we continue to look at and see where AI is coming in, replacing people, replacing jobs. Google has made a deal with WPP, which is one of the world's largest advertising groups, and they're going to be creating ads for Coca-Cola, L'Oreal, and Nestle. Nestle, and they're going to integrate into Google's Gemini and its ad operations. So as we continue to see these expand and continue to grow, as I talked about this before, though, it's working with an agency. So it's not the AI in and of itself doing this, but you're going to see a lot more of these, things helping these different companies and working within the ad space, within the creative space. So if that's something you're doing now or you would like to do, it's getting easier and easier for you to be able to do that. So and this is a big deal for this for WPP and Google to do this joint venture, and we'll start to see ads. Even though Coke has been using AI for ads already, I think we'll see a little more and a little more intense ads for that. Using AI within there. So. And the last thing, I talked about this before, there's the AI pin That is humane or human. Yeah, it's HUMANE, and depending on how you want to pronounce that. But this company was founded by former Apple employees and is officially launched. So this was able you to sign up for this months ago to get on the list. It's $699. It's also going to be $24 a month. Unfortunately, has not launched to great reviews on there. So this is a pin that you would wear. So some of the problems is it's too bulky. It's on there, but you would just have that right, and you can just tap it. You can talk to it. You'll be able to use camera, use different things on there. So the thought was, or their hope is, you'll be able to replace your iPhone. But for the most part, that has not gone over as well as they thought. So it's a couple of things here. Numerous reviewers were disappointed with the camera, and it's like the quality of an iPhone 4. While Engadget said it was worse than Nokia E7. Most critics felt compelled to mention that response time is too slow, and the only music app it supports is Tidal, which costs another $11 per month. So now you're at $700 plus $24 a month for the T-Mobile plan, and then another $11 if you want music. So that starts to add up a little bit. Although if you compare the price of an iPhone, it's still less than an iPhone, even for a full year of everything. But it's just not there yet as far as what's capable, what's out there currently. But again, the iPhone and these phones didn't start this way either. So I think as time goes on, they start to work more and design it better. We're going to see more and more of more wearable AI gadgets on there. So I think this is one of those things where obviously you'll have some people that will become the beta testers, want to become those first adopters using it. But for the most part, I would stay away from it from now. It's really not ready yet unless you want to have it. And, in addition to your phone, and something you want to have to be a conversation starter and play around with it. But there's more AI tech and gear that are slated to come out this year. So as they come out and as they see that, there's a pendant that will record basically everything goes on, all your conversations, all those things throughout your day, and it'll be able to summarize in AI. So there's a lot of cool tech we'll see become available. So, but that is my AI this week of just some of the things to highlight. Again, there's so much out there. There's so many things